Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to our panel about the state of retail influencer marketing. Thanks for sticking around. I know it's almost the end of the day. Before we start, I just want to say, if you see me looking at my phone, I'm not texting, although I'm Gen Z, so maybe you expect that of me. I'm just gonna keep tabs on the questions. I'm here with Ava from Google and Emily from Amazon. Maybe if you want to give us a quick intro about yourselves and what you do, that would be great.
For sure. Hi, how's everyone doing? Wow, okay, post-lunch and post-break energy, love. I'm Ava Donaldson, I work at Google, I'm based in New York. I'm the global head of talent and creator marketing. And I'm really excited to be here with Emily, who's been my internet friend for a year.
Yeah, we actually have quite a funny sort of origin story. I won't bore you with all the details, but it started at me sort of gate crashing someone's sun lounger in Austin on a random day. And some guy saying, oh, you have to meet my friend Ava. She's awesome and you'll really get along. And then a year later, we end up coincidentally on a panel. So hi, I'm Emily. I am head of influencer relations at Amazon. I sit within international consumer PR. My background has been across many different sides of this industry, so I could probably talk all along, but I know we've got 25 minutes, so I will wrap it up quickly for you.
Well, I have questions, but as we mentioned, I'm just going to let you guys take the lead because you're amazing experts and professionals in your fields. I guess we can start off simple, discussing how your organizations work with creators today, and particularly how has that evolved over the past few years when influencer marketing has kind of become really mainstream and exploded. Ava, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, for sure. I have had the pleasure of sitting in on some of the panels today, and I feel like there's a lot of connection and synergy just in terms of what a lot of folks are saying about how they're approaching influencer marketing today. I think the biggest difference from, I've been in the industry for 11 years, and at Google for 7, so I've seen a lot. We launched Pixel 2 my first year, and we're on Pixel 8. So that's a lot to quantify in product launches at 13. But anyway, I think when we first started, we didn't necessarily know or have the metrics or the ability to quantify the value of influencer marketing, and now we all know in this room that it works. The investment works, and we're doubling down on our investment in talent creators, kind of every type of creator across the board. And now creators really are the center of our marketing versus years ago, they were just a channel. And we're thinking about creator-first approaches to marketing, which is really, really cool and unique. So my team really sits cross-functionally across every single thing that we do. We're tired, but it's cool. It's fun.
I would agree. I think for us at Amazon, you know, we have a business with many different services and offerings, right? So we have to work with influencers and creators to communicate those offerings and those messages in a really unique and personalized way. And I think that's now kind of started to trickle through to the forefront, you know, and, you know, similar approaches in the sense of the entire industry has always struggled with validating influencers. Is it a bubble that's going to burst? Is it going to stick around? And it's really refreshing to see, you know, senior leadership really support and champion this as a channel now and sort of take it really seriously. And so for us, it's about really defining clear swim lanes within the business of how and why do we work with influencers throughout the funnel, but throughout different elements of the, you know, internally as well. So we have PR where I sit, and we work with influencers to convey through sort of storytelling, and we build relationships with influencers, and they really focus on those kind of deeper narratives and sometimes more corporate narratives, whereas marketing might be trying to promote a deals event that we have coming up, like Prime Day or Black Friday. And we also have our affiliate program, which I'm sure we can talk about a little bit more, the Amazon Influencer Program, and they work with influencers to kind of really personalize that shopping experience for customers. So yeah, it's great to see that it's really sort of spread throughout our entire business, and we focus on kind of how we define that and simplify it internally.
Yeah, you kind of anticipated one of my other questions, which was going to be about how different business units leverage influencer marketing within your companies to achieve different goals. And it's really interesting to see, like what you were mentioning, influencers being used for different purposes and influencer marketing serving different purposes within a company. Do you want to maybe expand a little bit on that, Emily? And then Ava, you can also follow up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was agency side, I admit I used to sort of think that there was always going to be this fight between, does it sit in PR, does it sit in social, does it sit in marketing? Should all businesses have dedicated creative teams that do everything? And I think what's kind of humbled me a little bit since going brand side is that that doesn't necessarily work for every single business and not every single size of business, at least not at this stage. And so we, like I said, we work with influencers throughout all parts of our business, and we really try and focus on how do we internally drive efficiencies. So long-term partnerships are a big thing for us, contracting creators to work with us across a number of different areas of the business as well. So for the British people here, you might have heard of Rylan Clark. Or seen him and his famous white smile. He works with us loads, like we've done loads of campaigns. He actually has lots of different Amazon devices in his home. Apparently he has an Alexa that wakes up any guest with their own name. So if you stay around his house, you would literally have "Welcome, Emily, good morning," playing for you. But he hosts a lot of our internal events. He works with us across many different facets. And so that's something that's been really great for us in sort of creating those synergies, efficiencies, and also like it's just a better experience for the customer to have this one Amazon approach. So yeah, it's complicated doing that at scale, but in the end, in the long run, it's really great for us in terms of driving efficiency and ultimately making customers feel better about us.
Yeah, I think for us with that question, I think about the different types of creators and talent that we use and the spectrum that exists, and wanting to set ourselves as a business up for success and also wanting to set the creators up for success, and knowing that not every type of creator or talent can or should do the same thing, and just being really specific and strategic about leveraging micro-influencers for word of mouth and leveraging celebrities and higher tier folks for reach and gen pop resonance, and just getting through the help of learnings from multiple years and metrics and learnings from great folks in this room. How can we get really specific so that we're not expecting all creators to do everything, because that's not the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And you both kind of touched on different elements that I think are really worth discussing. I think maybe coming off of this, can you share maybe one story, or just in general, what has worked particularly well in terms of your creative marketing and influencer marketing that you think has kind of moved the needle inside your companies?
I think I'll talk at more of a macro level, because a panel I heard earlier was talking about sort of centralization. And so in my role, I oversee the sort of strategy and the approach for 25 different countries, which at like a face value level, that sounds quite simple, but it's really complicated when you think about the different nuances in each country that we have. And there's not only from the creator landscape, but it's also from our own business. Amazon has only existed in some countries for a couple of years. So we have lots of different challenges that need to be handled locally. And so navigating that sort of global infrastructure and framework, and then marrying that with really culturally relevant ideas and stories through relevant creators needs to be handled locally. And I think that's something that we do really well, in the sense of we take that overarching sort of strategic framework and then we adapt that to local markets to make sure that it's actually relevant. And a big example of that is Prime Day. So last year, all of our individual teams at Prime Day had their own unique events, and so which really makes sense for that country. So for example, in Spain, our Spanish team took over a whole village. There's like a Spanish culture, which is a bit like a kind of street party type thing that happens once a year. And we had an Amazon Fiesta Stella Prime Day, if I say that right, experience. And so we sponsored this whole village, and we had the mayor come down from the village, and a creator hosted the whole thing, and opened it up for everyone. Amazon Music came and put on performances, and we basically brought this whole really unique experience centered around our event, which was Prime Day, but kind of making it really relevant to that specific country and that specific location. And it was, a really great success for us. So I think for us, it's taking, when we have the need to take that kind of global approach, and then also how can we adapt that from a local country perspective, and that's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah, I would say we work in a similar way, and we think about how important local and cultural nuance is, so definitely +1 to that. I would also say that for us, we're really invested in passions, and that's how we connect most meaningfully with our consumers and our audiences and our future consumers, and heavily investing in sports and music, photography, just really meaningfully investing in these ways through our league partnerships, through the creator passion points that we partner with. So we're a partner of WNBA, NBA, WSL, and F1 also from an Android perspective. So it's something that the company in general is really embracing, but especially from a devices and services standpoint. And it just allows our audience to connect with us, and also for them to expect that we're gonna show up in certain places, and we do.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about sort of meeting the expectations. One other thing that has kind of been discussed throughout all the panels that I also wanted to touch on is around building relationships. Obviously, influencer marketing, but marketing in general is about people speaking to people. So I think this is a two-pronged question. How do you build relationships with creators, and how important are those relationships for your influencer marketing efforts? And also, how do you make sure that those develop into relationships with customers through your work?
I think to build off of what I was just saying about passions, a really core part of how we bring our passions to life is through the lens of talent and creators. And I think it just helps us prove how invested we are in these different pillars and also humanize them. And a great example is our partner Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's on the Bucks in the NBA, and he's been our partner for multiple years. And that started off with an organic relationship built off of us just giving him a pixel in 2021 and him loving it. And then we were able to build a deeper multi-year relationship. And that's the ideal state. Like ideally we want to build with everyone, but I think for us with Pixel specifically, we are asking for people to switch over, and that's different from the norm. So we also understand that there can and maybe should be sometimes a little bit of a trial period for both parties. Does it actually work? Do they want to try the product for real? And our best partnerships, like the one with Giannis, have just developed and grown organically.
Yeah, I would echo that as well in the sense of not jumping straight in with creators all the time and sort of letting those relationships develop organically. And when I talk about that Rylan example, like he is such a huge fan of us as a business. And so that ultimately has genuinely just led to so many great opportunities for both of us because he gets us, he knows us, and it makes the whole experience on both sides way more pleasant, I guess. I think for us, like, given that we have such a large sort of scale to the volume of creators that we work with throughout the year and the messages that we have to rely on agencies and support in that sense. And so that can be tough sometimes when you're looking at building relationships with creators, but you ultimately have a middleman in between. And I think that's something that is important to sort of factor in when dealing with agencies, making sure that you are able to have access to the creators as well. We do a lot of in-person events, and so it's bringing together that kind of in-person component to be able to build relationships with people face-to-face, now that we can do that again, whilst also sort of working with them on the content side of things. And that ultimately leads to understanding and recognizing sort of real insights from the creators themselves. So, with creative treatments, asking for people's genuine opinions on what they think their audience would like, as opposed to giving them a strict brief to follow. Not that you can do that for every campaign, but that's something that's really sort of enabled us to be able to make creators feel like a valued part of our business. So I think it's sort of taking that really sort of multifaceted approach and bringing people inside and on that journey with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm also curious, speaking about multifaceted, because you were also mentioning the affiliate program. How does that play into this strategy? Obviously, the Amazon affiliate program is the gold standard. Well, I don't. According to creators, it's the gold standard. Everyone has an Amazon storefront. So, how does that play into your more broader, relationship-based creator strategy? That's maybe more about brand deals and sort of having a direct relationship.
Yeah. Thank you. That's nice to hear. I don't sit in that team. I will caveat, so I can't take any credit for that. But no, it's an incredible program, right? And I think the thing that we have as a business, which is really unique, is the sort of variety and the breadth of products that we offer and offerings and services that we have that helps enable creators to be really authentic in what they're choosing to promote. And that's something that's really unique in this industry, because you want to make money, but you also want to be genuine, when you're recommending products to your audience. So, for us, it's sort of twofold. There's one part of it, which is personalizing that customer experience. So those sort of curated product lists that influencers can create for their audiences ultimately drives people back to our website and hopefully purchase. But that just makes that whole life cycle and that journey for the customer really personalized and unique, which is something that we really want to lean into. And then the second part of it is kind of that helps us close the gap throughout the funnel across all parts of the business. And so within PR and comms, our main objective is really around awareness and engagement and driving brand warmth and brand love. But at the end of the day, we can also tell, how many sales we've been able to generate off the back of a campaign. So it's a really valuable tool that we have. And as a business, we basically, we try to onboard every creator onto the Amazon Influencer Program, just because it helps us be able to get all of that data that we can then take to leadership to prove the value in what we do.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. I'm seeing we have 7 minutes. I really want to talk about trends, because I love trends and I love trend predictions. But I also wanted to ask you guys maybe about a challenge. I know maybe talking about some of the challenges is not something that everyone wants to discuss. So it doesn't necessarily have to be related to your business, but maybe a broader look at the creator marketing space right now, and what do you see as a challenge that marketers and specifically creator marketers may be facing, and how you're tackling it within your companies? Maybe Ava, do you want to get us started?
Definitely. I think that specifically as it relates to us on the Pixel side, taking into context the broader state of the world in general, and also the macroeconomic state of the world, we can't ignore that, I think, in any part of our jobs, but we also can't ignore that when we're selling products of a certain price point. And we also know one headwind for us is that, in general, cell phones are getting better, which is great for consumers, but we also have to sell phones year over year, and we're launching new products and devices. So for us, we just think about, upgrade cycles for our devices getting longer, and people maybe not because of their phone being great or because of the state of the world and the macroeconomic climate, not necessarily needing to upgrade a device every year. So that's just a consideration for us in terms of adding value and how much value we have to bring to our products every time we have a new product in the market. But I think also the other thing is just thinking through the state of the world and wanting to be extremely sensitive and mindful of how you show up in general as a brand with your creators during these times that we're all navigating.
Yeah, I would echo that. For us as well, internationally, we also have the MENA region, and I think that's something we have to be very, very sensitive and careful of, with everything that's been going on recently. Is it the most appropriate time to be promoting our brand and our business and different services? Probably not. So there's various different challenges that we face in that, and sometimes they're overnight, and you have to kind of make some really big, quick decisions on whether things are right or wrong, without knowing all the information, which is tricky. The other thing I would say is just the creator economy has grown so much, which everyone in this room probably isn't surprised about, but it probably happened quicker than what most people thought, and there's just so much innovation happening, and that can be really challenging and tricky to keep up with. And I think, especially when you're at the forefront of it, and in the thick of it, sometimes it can be really difficult to kind of know what's going on externally and how to kind of capture that and bring that in. So that's why days like today are really great to come here and learn from all the experts.
Yeah. It's funny because this morning before, when I was preparing, I was thinking, oh, what can I say? And I was like, oh, I'm going to cite that Goldman Sachs stat about the size of the creator economy. And then every single panel has been citing that stat. So clearly we all know how much the creator economy has grown. So yeah, no, definitely fast moving. And that also brings me into my last question, which is about sort of trend predictions. This is something that, as a reporter, I love asking everyone that I meet. We talk a lot, for example, within my team about AI and how that's kind of impacting our space. We don't necessarily have to talk about AI, but is there anything that you guys are seeing or like trends that you see emerging that maybe we should all be on the lookout for?
Sure. I feel like I can't say trends to a room of people that are so informed. Like you guys, like nothing I say I feel like is going to be groundbreaking in any way, but that's also cool on a level. No, but I think deepening relationships is the thing that we're thinking about in general. Like, how can we go deeper on our passions with our audiences and connect with them? How can we further invest in creators and talent and athletes that are invested in us? And also, how can we really deepen influencer marketing into all aspects of what we're doing? How can we bring it more deeply into and connect it more deeply into ATL and TV ads? And like, we're riding this new wave of social performing better than TV, and like, what does that mean? So I think it's exciting and it's very cool to be in the industry at this time.
I would agree with you on those points. I think the other thing that I personally find really fascinating is how creators are now treating themselves as brands. And so the opportunity has just grown significantly from, a one-off collaboration to someone is forming a new TV show, or they're hosting a podcast, or they're launching a fashion line, or, whatever it might be. They're entrepreneurs and brands in their own right, and that's the way that the talent side of the industry is seeing this. And so that's something I've been watching and learning about personally. Just talent in general is becoming so sort of broad, and I think for brands to be able to marry up with that is such a really big opportunity. The thing that I love is, as an example, Grace Beverly, who's really killing it in the entrepreneurial space when she originated from being a fitness influencer, and she's obviously done so well from an entrepreneur standpoint, but she's teaming up with brands like Revolut, where they've got great business offerings, and then she's able to educate her audience about how they can do the same. So I think we'll see a lot more of that as talent and creators start to grow into their own names of their own right, and we'll see where that space will evolve.
Yeah, definitely. Personal brands. We think about that a lot, especially like I was thinking earlier at the LinkedIn panel, how LinkedIn is really enabling personal branding for everyone. And we're all LinkedIn influencers now, so that's fun. Okay, we've got 1 minute, so maybe in this 1 minute, do you want to tell us, like literally in 30 seconds each, a recent win that you're proud of? This is like my ace in my sleeve. We didn't prepare this.
You really put us on the spot here.
I know. No, you go.
I can't think.
41 seconds to think. I think that in terms of what I just said about the opportunity to bring creators more into the fold, we just started this year like really meaningfully putting creators in our TV campaigns, and then also taking them offline and having them spin off social content that has similar sort of messaging or features. And that's been really working well, and I'm excited to dig in more. You have 13 seconds.
Okay, I've thought of one. I hate being put on the spot. As my comms team will probably hate it even more. No, last year we ran the first ever virtual influencer partnership for Amazon. So we worked with this French creator called I Am Zlou. He's fascinating if you haven't seen him before, for Black Friday. And he created this incredible kind of alien coming out of this box, which was ginormous, going down one of the streets in Paris. And that was a real great achievement, you know, for us, especially from a risk standpoint, you know, to be able to sign that off and get that through. And it landed really well. You know, it's been, you know, shared a lot of times internally. We've had great feedback and obviously great results off the back of it as well.
Great. Sorry for putting you guys on the spot.
That was a really good one. That was really good.
Thanks, everyone. And yeah, see you shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.